Good evening, everyone, and welcome for the second time to WOR League or WOR Console Tier 2, even. Goodness me, if I can get my words out, that'll be fantastic. WOR Console Tier 2, we're here tonight, of course, for crossplay, round number 7 of the championship. It's a sprint and feature from the Mexican Grand Prix at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. My name is James Head. I'm going to be taking to the stream here tonight. Mr. Evan Dalton, I think, is probably auditioning for Eurosong 2024. That's why he's not here tonight. But joining me in the commentary box, as always, it is Mr. Max Ring, otherwise known as Steve. Max, how you doing?
I'm very good, James. Happy to be here. And how are you on your return here to the comms box this season?
I am doing really well. Catching up from last week, obviously, with Render's victory. And honestly, the way that Console Tier 2 is going at the minute, it's going to be very interesting because obviously short qualifying, sprint and feature, going to be interesting to see how the drivers cope out on track tonight.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's going to be a long one for the drivers. I reckon there's going to be, of course, two gaps between sessions for the drivers where they have to refocus, get back in that groove. And also, they'll also might have a little bit more knowledge than they would usually do on a race day on an evening every Friday, because of course we've got that sprint, so they can sort of figure out how, say, the other drivers are at race pace, and that sprint could be a little taster of what we could see to come in the feature. And it can really be the difference of if someone's gone too qualifying based on their setup, they'll just plummet down the order from in the sprint and the feature race. And if someone has a bad qualifying, but a good race, it can also change that up as well, because it means that they have more time to move their way back up the order.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously we're going to get into qualifying very soon. Indeed, I can report it is beautiful blue skies and sunshine in Mexico as well. Home of ran one of the Formula E Championship as well this weekend as well in real life. But what you want to know coming into tonight is who won, of course, last week. And I've already said him. It's Renz Thomason who took the win, part of that ET8 qualifiers lineup as well for Legacy Division, taking the win by a good 5 seconds, I think it was, in the end. FER Zolzol there in second, making his way through the field. Evan Dalton commentating them on Monday, and he produced an absolute stunning performance in PSGL PSF2. So watch out for him coming into tonight. Brandok's there in third. Cameron Dowds, though, still leads the championship, even though he's moved tier, even though he's now in tier 1. He's on 105 points, leading by 39 coming into tonight. Alex Marciano there in second on 66, then Tudi in third on 64, Nico fourth on 46, Flopman fifth on 44, potentially another one to watch out for as well in F1 later on. Zozo in sixth on 43, Brandok seventh on 39, Daniele in eighth on 36, Elite Risks in ninth on 31, and Renz with that win, putting him ahead of many drivers actually in the championship, goes into 10th on 25 points. And Max, you were here, of course, last week. Cameron Dowd's no longer part of Tier 2. I did say that the last time I was here in Tier 1, I think at the start of the season, that he should be moved up into Tier 1. He definitely did do. But we had Ren's new reserve last week take the race win. Zols and Brandok second and third. A very mixed grid last week in Singapore.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, it was a brilliant drive from Renz to Mass, and to just on your debut here in Crossplay Tier 2 this season, and to instantly go and produce one of the most dominant drives we've seen in this tier over the past few seasons, in fact, not just this season, but over the past few, rivaling Cameron Dowd's Bahrain race domination. So it was just a brilliant race from him. Not here tonight, so that's going to maybe add another bit to this race, is that we might not see Ferrari domination anymore into this one, but there's still a massive chance for the Ferrari drivers or even anybody else to get a really good result here. And of course, as you say, Cameron Dowds is still the championship leader, even though he has moved up to crossplay tier 1. And that's also a big thing as well, because Alex Marciano is 39 points behind. He can't actually get in front of Cameron Dowds this evening, even if he takes maximum points in the sprint and in the feature race. So Cameron Dowds, even though he's moved up a tier, it's still going to be a challenge for the likes of Alex Marciano, Tudi, to really get anywhere near his points tally and eventually overcome that. But they do still have a long way to go. Of course, we'll get more points here than any other race this season of 33 compared to the usual 25. So it's going to just be a race where you need to keep your nose clean. You need to score big in the sprint if you're in the championship battle. And you also just need to keep everything on the line for the feature race. But qualifying, I would say today, is probably the least important of the season.
It is probably the least important of the season as well, and it's going to really put, I think, the drivers under a complete and utter test in terms of the driving out on track as well. ETA Andrea is the first out on track, just from wide there, coming through the SA section of turns 12 and 13. Now into the right-hander of turn 13 at the end of the middle sector, and he's already invalid because he ran so far wide coming through that section. And Andrea is jumping about on my screen a little bit as well, so maybe one to watch out for in terms of connection. Alfa Romeo coming through in the background as well. I think on a lap at the minute is BRT Lou. He's on a lap coming through the middle sector. It's TF10 Flow, however, that is coming through the middle sector, and the Alfa Romeo as Dirk there goes quickest with a 15.5, so not a bad lap there at all from Dirk. Should expect the drivers to be at around the 114s, I would think, maybe even in the 113s as we come forward in this session, as Flow now comes through the final corner. In the Flow currently in this lap, coming to the line, goes quickest ahead of Dirk there in second, and TTM Stonks, who was part of the Legacy Division qualifiers for TTM, there in third position. But very good lap times being set so far. You were speaking about Ferrari domination there as well. Gavano I referenced just before we got into stream. Gavano would be the interesting one, I think, for me in the Ferrari perspective. However, he just came in the pit lane because he's just already invalidated his laps. It's not looking good as BRT Lou, another man that you saw in Legacy Division on Tuesday in qualifiers, goes on top from Flo in second. It's an Alfa Romeo 1-2, but not for long.
No, Alex Marciano there putting the lap out the bag. I mean, as I said, he needs to score big in the sprint. So even though I say this might not be an important qualifying, it could be to the likes of Chudy and Alex Marciano to give them the best possible opportunity to score big in this sprint race. And we saw times coming in thick and fast, and there goes Chudy up into second place. So our top two that are still in this tier in the standings, up in first and second at the moment, locking out the front row. Bobbitt's going up into sixth place. More drivers are coming to the line as we speak. FRT Nico, who is in third place in this championship, goes up into ninth place. Only 2 thousandths between him and Shazoo Venom in front. It's very close throughout this field so far. Only about 3/10 separating the top 12. And with that, we're surely going to in for some brilliant racing. But yeah, as you said, Givano, going to be a big driver to look out for. I've never personally commentated on him, so he's going to be a fresh face for me. But from what you say, he seems to be one to look out for, and maybe can just keep pushing that Ferrari domination on further and further this season.
I believe he was in the top 10 in terms of individual times in Legacy Division qualifiers on Tuesday, so that's why I'm saying watch out for him, because he looked very quick in Zandvoort. Zandvoort and Mexico are pretty similar circuits, to be honest, in terms of the actual timing of the lap. Possibly Netherlands just being a few seconds slower, obviously, but Gavano likes the sort of tracks like Mexico, like the Netherlands, so watch out for him. Watch out for this guy as well, Hazara, coming through the middle sector, fresh from his European Esports Championship race in Belgium on Wednesday. 56.6 in the middle sector, not looking too bad at all for the Norwegian. Alex Marciano, though, out on top, 2D in second, Lou there in third. Also got a returning man in the Mercedes of Shazoo Lurch, who you've commentated on quite a few times. Indeed, Max, they're down in 14th position, 15.7 on his return. Hazara now on the run to the line actually goes just ahead of him, a 15.742, 3,000th of a second ahead of him. Lurch there in 15th, not looking too bad. And Simbarox, who of course was formerly part of SLRT, he is there down in 18th position. Apologies if you've just lost a little bit of game sound coming through on my end. Joys of trying to run Evan Dalton's stream and everything here tonight. But Alex Marciano out on top, 2D in second, Lou there in third. Simbarox looks like he's down on a lap going for another run. But mentioning that Mercedes man there, Max, 15th position for him currently. Shazoo Lurch returning for the first time in quite a while, I think, to league racing.
Yeah, of course, he did have a stint where he just left the game. He retired, well, as we say, quote-unquote retired. He's now come back, joined the Shazoo Esports team, and he's just looking to get back in the rhythm, really. He was a very quick driver on previous games, and now he's back. He's already up here in crossplay tier 2, so he's still got some pace left in the tank, so he's just going to be really using, I feel like, these last races of the season to build up that confidence once more. just try find the pace that he once had and just slowly just keep working on his racecraft, on his pace, and eventually he might be up into the higher parts of the midfield. But we have only had one run in this session, so that could have been a lap where there was a few mistakes, or overall just a bit of a scruffy lap himself where he might have just eased off slightly, knowing it's the first run. Don't want to take too many risks on it until that final part of the lap. So Lurch, he's someone to look out for in this qualifying session to really maybe throw a surprise into that midfield, and also in the main race session to just fight his way up through, because he's got nothing to lose now, because of course he's not going to be in the championship battle. He has nothing to lose, so he can just push with everything he can. No risks really, and just be as aggressive as he wants in a sensible manner as well, at least. So Lurch, someone to look out for, very experienced, and can certainly cause some surprises. Simbarox goes up into 14th place. It's been not the greatest of seasons from last season's Tier 5 champion, but into 14th place, just behind his teammate Leo. And I mean, still, only 4 attempts off the top. This Mexico circuit showing that it is very close between all these drivers.
Yeah, showing that it is very close indeed. Simbarox going ahead of Hazara and Lurch. That's now 14th position for the man in the Red Bull. We're going to take you on board a lap, though, with TF10 Flow. Currently there in 4th position right now. We'll turn the timing timer off on the left-hand side and then go back on board with him going through the middle sector. But Flow catching a really nice flow coming through the right, the chicane in turns 1, 2, and 3. I will use this pun quite a lot tonight as Flow now comes through into the left hand of turn number 4, and he's 300s up. Currently purple in the first sector, so not sure how that is in comparison to everyone else's first sector. Flo certainly improved on his own time in the first sector, as he now comes through the double right of turn number 6, and then embarks into the SA section of turn 7 to 11. Car getting out of the way on the right-hand side is one of the Red Bulls, now coming through the left-hand of 9, then through the reprofiled surface of turns 10 and 11. If you run off the left-hand side, you've got to take the escape road now, otherwise you'll pick up a penalty. And he's 300th up again in that middle sector, so not purple in the middle sector showing, but the TF10 man now coming in toward the final couple of corners, of course on the Xbox side of TF10 rather than PlayStation or PC. Now coming through the final corner, the TF10 Flow definitely catching the flow as he comes through Peraltada on the run to the line. Should be a good lap, goes third, 15.358, and goes 400ths of a second right now of Alex Marciano. But speaking of Alex Marciano, he is up in the first sector right now by 200ths of a second. Just trying to catch on board with anybody else that is on lap. Gavano there going 5th position, so not a bad lap there at all from him. Bobbert's backing off his lap. Venom on a lap as well. Daniele is coming towards the end of his lap, but he's invalidated on his run. Stonks now to the line, and Stonks produces a stonking lap to go quickest, a 15.250. Alex Marciano second, 2D there in third, and Stonks showing why he came back to form in Legacy Division qualifiers, was one of the top drivers there in Legacy Division. And Stonks now out on top once again here tonight, this time in Mexico and this time in Console Tier 2.
Yeah, really nice lap time there from Stonks. Coming from the midfield, and actually Alex Marciano lost all the time he found in that final part of the lap. I think that was Zorzo moving up into 7th place, and now Venom moving up into the top 3. It's been a very tricky season for both the McLaren drivers so far. So a 3rd place for Venom. Of course, Bobbert's got pole out in Texas. And Venom, if he can get a good qualifying here, he certainly has the pace and the experience to lead from the front, or even get a podium finish in either the sprint or the feature race. So 3rd place for Venom. Very good at the moment, but of course we still have that final run.
Wow.
And Chudy now shoots up to the top. It is a Haas front row here in Mexico as it stands. Chudy moves himself up onto provisional pole for the sprint race of 15.117, the furthest really margin we've seen all session between the top 2. I mean, Stonks over a 10th behind now, about a 10th and a half behind Chudy. So Chudy, a brilliant lap time there for him. I don't think too many other drivers will be on a lap time. I say that, and Luca shoots him. I think it's Luca. Actually, no, I think Brando. Sorry, Brandox moving himself up into 9th place with a 1 minute 15.459. But still, so close in this field, where on this final run, if you gain a 10th or 2 tenths, you can shoot yourself up a good 3 or 4 places, because this field is so tightly contested, and it's been like that for a majority of the season that still it's anybody's game for pole position.
It is anybody's game for pole position, and remember, Mexico is one of these circuits where you can either gain time or shoot yourself in the foot and lose all of that time. That's what Alex Marciano did on his lap. Andrea currently on a lap as well, 56.5 in that middle sector, so not looking too competitive in that middle sector. Should be aiming to go around Leo, Nico, Paul, Daniele, that sort of area. He won't though, because he's just lagged completely on my screen. Coming to the right-hander now with Peraltado at turn 16 at 17 on the run toward the line with Andrea, and he goes 17th, so ahead of Azara. But again, the top 20 drivers, every single body in the field right now, covered by 0.6 of a second, just over that at this stage, as there's barely, 4 minutes to go, I think, in the session. 2D out on top, Stonks there in second, Alex Marciano there in third. Just trying to see if there's anybody coming out of the pit lane. There's one of the AlphaTauris, I think, coming out of the pit lane, and that is the man of FLT, Nico, and I think Nico was part, again, of the FLT lineup last season in Legacy Divisions. Of course, has been scoring quite highly so far in Tier 2. Down in 14th, behind Leo there in 13th, Bobbitt's there 12th, Gavano 11th. So Nico has got a little bit of time to find, but he is one of those drivers where, if he hooks up a lap, he can be really competitive.
Yeah, he certainly can. He's been a bit of a tricky spot in some races, especially last time out in Singapore, not scoring any points, and also he had a tricky one in Monaco as well. That wasn't a strong race for Nico either, and Nico's season, it ebbs and flows. He has his highs and then he has his lows, either the next race or a few races later. So he just needs to hook up a lap time here. He just needs to find some pace in this AlphaTauri. Of course, giving himself enough time that if he does invalidate, he does have enough time to go again, depending on where it is. So he just needs to focus, get his head down. He'll be the only driver to be on a lap at the time. Of course, he's going to have to navigate some traffic through the first part of this lap, knowing that everybody's now going to start flooding out the pit lane. And we'll keep on board with him on this one. Of course, going to be the only driver as it stands on a lap. If that will change, we do not know. It all depends how the first part of his lap is. So coming around the final corner now, let's get this lap underway with the AlphaTauri DRS Open. As you can see, a flood and a flurry of cars to the right-hand side of him. They all need to keep out the way nice and easily for the AlphaTauri driver. You can see his teammate there on the inside of turn one. A big slide actually through the first corner. Aborts it instantly, maybe a bit distracted by his teammate of TF10 Dirt there, and is not happy with how that first corner went. And will now back off, recharge that battery, and go again.
Judging by that, how that weaving was towards his AlphaTauri teammate, I don't think he was too happy, put it that way. They're in 14th position. That is the trick of the trade when it comes to sim racing. If you see a driver weave coming onto their lap, and then they back off coming through the first couple of corners and somebody interferes with them, then they're not happy. That is a telltale sign here in the sim racing world. Alfa Romeo is going to be one of the first up on track as well. I think that might be BRT Lou coming through the final corner. It is indeed now down in 7th position, looking to try and get up there alongside the likes of Venom, alongside the likes of Alex Marciano. A good 10th improvement could find him easily into 3rd position. He's only got one crack of the cherry, I think, here as well. So the BRT man now on the run down towards turn 1. Bobbert starting a lap in behind as well. He'll be looking for good lap time. Leo down in 13th. Could be one to watch out for as well. He's normally quite quick around this track. We'll run a ball with Lou for the first part of his lap, then we'll update you on everyone else as we go forward. Ren's there saying in the chat he'll be having a 0.9 right now, so Ren's clearly feeling very cocky when it comes to the racing here tonight. He's not here, but if he's showing that level of confidence, then he's going to put everyone on notice. Put it that way, as Lou was down in the first sector, misses the curve coming through turn of assist. This has looked very scrappy, so scrappy in fact he's just invalidated the exit of turn 6.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Lou. He was really looking for a good lap time there, of course, in 7th place. Very good at the moment for both Alfa Romeo cars being in 5th and 7th. Bobbitt has also invalidated his lap time. We do have an Aston Martin, I think, of Daniele. Yes, Daniele now heading through the middle part of the lap. Down in 16th place. A bit unusual to see the Aston Martin driver that low down the order in qualifying. Usually up within the top 10, as he's actually not even finding an improvement through the middle sector. Did find some time, though, on his lap, as he now heads into the final part of the lap, through the stadium section and into the final braking zone, which then leads you into the final corner. A bit wide maybe there from the Aston Martin as he comes to the line. Does he find any time? He does, but only puts him up into 15th place. A very poor lap time there from Daniele. Who else is on a lap? Who's closest to finishing their lap? It's Leo coming to the line. What can he do? He puts himself up to 2nd. the Red Bull from 13th place, sorry, up into second place. Alex Marciano finds a slight bit of time, but that's enough to promote him up the order. And now Dirk goes to the top of the timings. What can Chudy do? He's up slightly.
Not enough.
Can he dethrone his TF10 teammate to the line? No, he lost time in that final part of the lap. It's all down to Stonks now. Can he do anything? No, he can only go to third place. Dirk might have just pulled the lap time out of the bag when he needed to the most. Shazoo Venom in his McLaren in 7th place. Can he promote himself up the order slightly? A bit too much curb may be taken there through the stadium section as Brandox moves up into 4th place, but Venom to the line. Where's it going to put him? Up to 5th. So Venom can only go up into 5th place. Flo has aborted his lap. Nico in 10th. Lou is not on a lap either. So I think that could be it for your qualifying session. And it is TF10 Dirk manages to pull a lap time out of the bag in the final stages of qualifying with his TF10 teammate Chudy and then Stonks rounding out the top 3.
Ren saying in the chat there, apparently Dirk has done no practice for tonight as well. If he's done no practice, then I'm Mahatma Gandhi, quite literally. Dirk there out on top, 2D second, Stonks there in third. He's pulled, I think, possibly the biggest trick in the book, and that's pull wool over everyone's eyes by saying he's done no practice. If that's no practice, then I tell you what, it's a phenomenal lap regardless. Dirk there on top, 2D there in second, Stonks there currently in third. Brandox and Venom top 5. Looking further down the field though, championship contenders-wise, 2D there in second. Starting well ahead of Alex Marciano as well. Alex Marciano in 7th. He, with NLR on Tuesday, didn't set a competitive enough a lap to get NLR. They only missed out by, what, 300ths of a second, I think it was, in the end. They only missed out because of him and because of his lap time in the end in Legacy Division. And that's my big worry coming into tonight. That consistency that Alex shows. He's had good results here in Console Tier 2, don't get me wrong. But he's there in 7th, 2D in 2nd. You do not want to be forfeiting any single position against your closest rival, especially this late in the season.
Yeah, of course. He's never been the strongest in qualifying here in Crossplay Tier 2, really. So he's really shown his skill in the race place and was able to shine in Vegas and managed to end up winning that one. So, I mean, Alex, it's now going to be a sprint race where he needs to make places and also maybe hope that Chudy gets held up slightly or just has a bad race himself. So, Alex, it's not been the greatest of qualifying from him. I don't think he actually was able to improve at all from really his original qualifying lap time. Only found about 24 milliseconds on his final run of the session, so it wasn't even enough to move him up a place. So this is really going to be a crucial sprint. He needs to get at least into that top 3 to really relinquish the deficit that he might find himself into Chudy, because of course there's only 2 points separating them in the championship, and those 2 points can easily be found in this sprint or this main feature race. So again, Alex, he needs to put a sprint race together. And also for Chudy, he just needs to keep his nose clean and try to do the best race he possibly can this evening.
Avatar, by the way, now calling me James Gandhi in the chat, so thank you very much. That is going to stick. I am sure that is going to stick forward. We'll get our adverts and everything out of the way between the sprint and the feature race. We're going to go straight into the sprint race, of course, here tonight. Dirk saying in the chat as well, Bass, I did 2 short qualifying sessions at 7:15 Central Eastern Time, which means he did that at 6:15 our time. As I say, he's just pulled the ball over everyone's eyes by saying he's done no practice, and then he's done, what, 2 short qualifying sessions, and probably about 5 laps in those short qualifying sessions, and that is it. You do not need much practice if you're good enough, and Dirk has certainly proved that here tonight in Mexico. But it is a sprint race, 12 laps, of course, await now our drivers out on track. We have got the sprint points as well up for grabs. Means extra points up for grabs as well. And given how our title contenders are, Cameron Dowd's obviously not here. He's leading the way on by 39 points in the championship. 2D and Alex Marciano, though, only 2 points separating. They're starting 2nd and 7th respectively. This is going to be pretty close, I think, between them both.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I mean, that run down to turn 1 is going to be so crucial. And into turn 1 itself, they just need to keep their noses clean. That's all they need to do. And I mean, Alex is in a bit of a better scenario, of course, having a points lead. Yes, it's only 2 points, but he has that somewhat of a cushion, very, very slightly to Judy. It's nothing much, but for a sprint race, that is 2 positions on the track. So all he has to do is just stick with Judy, keep his nose clean through that first part of lap 1, and just focus then on from either gaining places or just trying to stick to the back of Judy. So we don't know how this run down to turn 1's going to be. Of course, it widens and then narrows, so you could be going 4 wide into that first corner, then it narrows down to you can only go about 2 wide, maybe 3 wide at a push through there. So, I mean, drivers could easily miss their braking points as well. The meter boards heading on the left-hand side down into turn 1 are only tiny. They're very small. So drivers need to be cautious of drivers actually going and braking early into the corner just to make sure they make the corner and don't hit the car in front. And also drivers misjudging their braking points. That's going to be the biggest part of these 2 races on lap 1 is going to be if drivers misjudge their braking points, they can easily have a bowling-like effect and take out 2 or 3 cars with them.
Yeah, it could end up being like Hungary. Obviously, that was in intermediate conditions in real life. I think it was in 2021. And then we had that bowling effect from the likes of Lando Norris and Valtteri Bottas. Could be the same here. We could get locking up in towards turn 1, especially with the whole gaggle of cars, especially in the midfield. One lockup from the midfield could cause utter carnage in terms of the action out on track. And hopefully that is not the case. Hopefully everyone gets through turns 1, 2, and 3 safely. Looks like Leo might be having a potential issue. Might have to keep an eye on the chat for this, just see if there's any restarts or anything being planned. Because Baz has said in the chat, Leo apparently can't press any buttons right now, which is not great when you're starting a 12-lap sprint and then got a 36-lap feature race straight after. So I'm not sure what the protocol is, whether we can restart or not just for one driver, but hopefully he can get that fixed. It appears to be, though, a crossplay glitch, judging by what the chat's saying.
I've just checked the tier 2 chat, and we are having a lobby restart here due to the issues for Leo. Yeah, he said that he restarted his wheel and everything, but just he couldn't press any buttons. So, of course, if you can't press any buttons, you're not going to get far into a Grand Prix. Move. We are having a lobby restart here, so I mean it's unfortunate, but these things happen. It's out of our control completely, and I mean some drivers are wondering why there's a lobby restart, but we have to. You cannot just let a driver not race because of a issue outside of their control, and yeah, unfortunately we have to restart here for Leo, but we should be back in the next few minutes for him.
Yeah, we will be. We will be. I think, as I say, it's probably better to try and get a restart doing. I know it's only for one driver, and I know especially the top drivers are probably going to be complaining, saying, "Oh, why we're having a restart? Oh, it's only affecting one driver. It's not affecting the rest of us." But when, as you say, we've got a sprint and a feature, if you keep it in the same lobby and Leo can't press any buttons, and then suddenly it works in the feature race, for example, then there's going to be a right issue. But looks like we're getting the lobby restarted very soon indeed. Mr. ESV Bobbert is in charge of the stream, is in charge of the lobby even, not in charge of the stream, because I'm in charge of the stream here tonight. But what we can do, though, is remind you, of course, what the standings look like coming into tonight as well. And we focus in particular on the driver standings, but we'll take a look at the constructors as well, because the constructors standings is pretty spicy, because Ferrari, of course, even though Renz picked up a win last week, and I believe he was in a Ferrari as well, he did not pick up any points because of him being reserved, because of him being in WOR, and that whole rule around reserves not picking up any points. Ferrari didn't score any points last week either, so Ferrari lead the way on 149 points, Williams second on 109, Aston Martin third on 75, Haas fourth on 70, AlphaTauri fifth on 46, McLaren sixth on 36, Red Bull seventh on 33. Somebody needs to change the positions on the left-hand side. Alfa Romeo in 8th on 14, Alpine in 9th on 13, and then Mercedes there in 10th on the nil point, and they have scored 0 points throughout the entirety of the season so far. Ferrari, though, out on top, 40 points over Williams. Interesting, because most of those points, Max, has been picked up by Mr. Cameron Dowd.
Yeah, and of course Flopman's not here either, so they won't be scoring any points for the remainder of the season. So it's another scenario where the teams behind of Williams, Aston Martin can now just gain on the Ferraris, because of course just like how we have in the Drivers' Championship with Cameron Dowds no longer being in the tier and moving up to tier 1. Same with Flotman as well. Yes, he was a bit further down the championship standings, but was still somewhat within that top group of drivers. Is that this now opens it all up. The Williams can easily promote themselves up into the Constructors' Championship lead, and then they can lead it from there. So, I mean, of course, again, they have to close down that points gap. I mean, it's going to be easy knowing it's 2 drivers scoring points and not just 1 in the Drivers' Championship. So, again, it's just a bit of a weird circumstance that we're in here in tier 2, especially with Cameron still technically leading the way in the standings. So, yeah, I mean, Ferrari no longer going to be scoring any points because they're just going to keep getting reserves in to fill that void at the Ferrari outfit. So, it's now just going to be a race between Williams and Aston Martin till the end of the season.
Yeah, it is, and obviously with that battle with Williams and Aston Martin, it's going to be really intriguing, I think, because I mean, there's what 34 points. I think that make that out as in my GCSE D in maths, with 34 points separating Williams and Aston Martin. But then you've got Haas, who are only 5 points behind. Tudi, of course, and Alex Marciano being the 2 main battlers in terms of the drivers' championship. And they're separated by 39 points over Williams and Haas, which is exactly the same amount of margin as what the drivers' standings is right now between Cameron Dowds and Alex, who's in second in the championship. It brings that question, though, how important consistency is, because we have a look at Tudi's results. He's only been out of the top 4, I think, on one occasion, or the top 5 on one occasion, and that was last week in Singapore, where he only picked up a 9th place finish. Alex Marciano, on the other hand, he's only been out of the top 5 once as well, and that was in Monaco. Well, actually twice, in Monaco and in Bahrain first round of the season. But judging by form and judging by average, I think Tudi is probably the man you want to have the side of right now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Tudi had an awful race last time out. He had a decent qualifying, managed to stay within that top 3 for a little while, but then it just seemed like he had no race pace. So, I mean, it was quite unusual. Tudi has been one for race pace this season. Of course, he actually thought he would be able to stick with Cameron in his dominant display out in Bahrain, but unfortunately, due to a VSC, Cameron was able to break DRS. But yeah, it was a bit of an odd one last time out for Tudi. I just don't think he liked Singapore. It was just a circuit that didn't suit him at all, and just this week he's able to change that. Of course, now up in second place here in the sprint, which then sets the grid for the race. So it's not all over for him yet. Of course, as I say, 2 points is the gap. It's virtually nothing, but still, for a sprint race at the moment, a little bit of a buffer here for Alex Marciano. So it's not over for Tudi, and he certainly is a driver you want to be on the side of. He's very consistent, and he can easily bring home this championship if he can just keep the form that he had before Singapore. And overall, he has been a driver that's constantly been threatening for podiums and race wins. So, Tudi, certainly the driver to look out for the most, I think, when it comes to this championship battle, just over Alex Marciano.
Yeah, definitely. So there is the standings as well for the drivers coming into tonight. Looking further down the field, I mean, Nico all the way down to Rennes at the minute is covered by 21 points, and one good result for either of them here tonight. Obviously, Flopman's moved here, but with one of them having a good result tonight, other than the sprint or the feature, it's definitely going to bring them potentially into contention as well. Baz saying in the chat as well, apparently Rennes is going to be getting a Mackie D's so far, so get your order in if you do want to get a Mackie D's off Mr. Rennes there in the chat. I'll have a double cheeseburger while you're at it. Cameron Dowd though out on top. Alex Marciano second, Tudi there in third in terms of the championship. What we can do as well is have a look at what the drivers have got to face in the next couple of weeks as well, because we've got 4 races quite literally on the bounce in terms of console tier 2 and indeed console tier 1 as well. Console tier 1's coming up in around about 24 minutes time, so if you do want to make your way over to that, you can. Because it's a sprint, it's going to take a hell of a lot longer, and with our restart, it's going to take us a lot longer as well to get underway. But looking at the final 4 rounds of the season, taking the sprint race out of question here tonight in Mexico, we've got Portugal next week, Belgium 2 weeks later, then Austria, and then China. And that is a pretty good calendar, I've got to be honest, to end off the season. Portugal, of course, a track where Thomas Ronhaar has won at, Otis Lawrence has won at back in the past here. Looking, I think, very likely that we could see a really good race next week. And that is even before we get, of course, into the racing here tonight in Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, Portugal is an amazing circuit, and it's a bit of an unusual end to the calendar as well, of having Portugal, Austria, and China all involved. So it's just going to be now where the likes of Chudy, say Nico as well, they have to be consistent. They need to really focus on their craft and practice for each track as much as they possibly can. So it's now going to be a season where, of course, China, no one's really ever done a season finale around there. So that's going to be something they need to look out for as well. The mindset changes on each circuit from what you're used to. Because, of course, when some leagues do Bahrain as the final race of the season, usually your mind thinks it's one of the first. So you don't take as many risks as you would do if you think it is a championship finale. But of course it is, so you need to change your mindset, and that could affect some of these drivers here, because there's such mentally in a rhythm at times of circuits being at a certain point on the calendar, say of course Mexico nearer the end, and then you got like the likes of Austria is usually near the front, that they need to be able to switch that mindset instantly. It probably won't phase these drivers at all. They'll just take each race as it comes. But when you're in a championship battle, you know every race, every lap is critical to your championship. That it could be difficult to switch that mindset from Bahrain usually being the first, and it ends up being the last. So that is also going to be another thing to look out for. But the final 3 races of the season, they're going to be some of the best of the season, I feel like, especially Austria. That can go to anybody around the circuit that short. And, I mean, we're going to just see amazing racing here tonight and for the rest of the season.
Yeah, let's hope we get amazing racing first here tonight in Mexico. We're jumping ahead of ourselves a bit, saying there's going to be good racing for the rest of the season as well. But you never know what can happen. It is Formula One at the end of the day. Anything can happen, and it usually does, as once Murray Walker once said. Looking through the chat as well, 2D saying he'll fall asleep throughout the race for real. Hopefully he doesn't, because he's up there in second position in qualifying, certainly in the sprint and indeed the feature, unless he's referencing Portugal next week. That might be the case. China, by the way, is one of my is the pre-season track for my league that I'm in as well. Getting promoted to Division 3, I'm glad to say, as well, after nearly getting outschooled by the man sitting to the right-hand side of me in the PSGL Commentators Cup before Christmas as well. Thanks, Max, for that one, and thanks for that disconnect that he provided me with as well.
Yeah, no worries, James. I mean, yeah, that was a race where I did pull away from you in that one. So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna be in for a brilliant race here tonight. I mean, we got this sprint, and then of course there's so many overtaking opportunities around here. And heading down into turn 1, you got that DRS zone. You're going to see so many moves made by DRS heading down into there, and that's where drivers will probably focus their attacks through there and also up into turn 4, because of course you get the 2 doses of the DRS. If you can't do it with the first one, you can then get it done with the second dose. So it's going to be a race of attrition, I feel like, here. A lot of DRS trains in the feature race. In the sprint, we might see a lot more aggressive lunges, knowing that there really isn't anything to lose for some of these drivers, and that this ends up setting the grid for the feature race, and they can easily come back in that one. And the drivers that have had a poor qualifying can then move themselves back up through the field in the feature race and the sprint here as well. So a bit more of an aggressive and a bit more of a hectic sprint race probably you'll see here tonight. But then in the feature, you'll probably see the same as usual, your DRS trains, your hard-medium strategy, and we'll just see how the end of that race balls up. But this sprint race, gonna be a fun one, and expect a lot of aggressive moves, especially from the drivers further down the order.
I'd imagine as well, with it being 12 laps, we could see if anybody goes on a set of soft compound tyres in the sprint, potentially the tyres wearing out to the point that they do puncture. Now, tyre wear around this track is a lot lower compared to F1 22. It's about 2% lower on average on the set of softs. So the set of softs should get to the end of the race. So whether or not drivers decide to use the set of softs is up to them. I personally would, at this stage in the sprint, get them out of the way, and then you don't have to use them in the feature race, and then you've got the hards and the mediums. But anyways, let's see what everyone's on, because the 5 red lights are about to go out here tonight for the sprint in Mexico for crossplay tier 2, and it's lights out and away we go, and Dirk gets a good start. 2D alongside him as well, getting a good start. Brandox, I think, is at the best start out of everyone, and Cole put alongside to make 4 wide potentially in towards turn 1. Stonks is certainly trying to get in the middle, both of the AlphaTauri and the Haas. He's going towards turn 1, side by side, pointing the Red Sea like from him, but Dirk there leads through turn 1. Stonks in second, 2D there in third. Venom and Brandox are side by side, just in the background as well. Stonks getting forced off track there slightly by 2D. In the midfield, I think everyone got through okay. Luca and Azara were certainly making contact in the mid-pack, but Dirk there leading the way. 2D in second, Stonks there in third, Venom there in fourth. Looking good so far, as it's now coming through the first pinch point of the circuit, through turns 4 and 5, in towards turn 6. There's a ghosted car, there's a bit of PG-18 going on in the background. One of the Williams, I think, has spun as well. That's Zozo that is round. Coming through the double right-hander at turn 6. I think he's being tapped by Simbarox, if I'm not mistaken. But they're down at the back end of the field. Andrea, I think, was riding somebody at the back end of the field. Not what you want to see on that one. But Dirk there leads the way. 2D in second, Stonks there in third. And everyone but 2 drivers on a set of softs. Set of mediums even.
Yeah.
2. Oh, 2 on a set of softs. There you go.
Yeah, that was a perfect getaway there for Dirk. A very difficult start to the race, obviously, for drivers on pole position. He's actually broke DRS as it stands as well. It's just flickering between that 1 second and 9/10 mark. So Dirk really is pushing here, and maybe he could just have some really nice race pace. Of course, Judy has used a bit of his battery to gain up. Further down the back, I think Zorzo actually turned across Nico, actually, as Andrea has retired from the race. Of course, needed to come into the pits. And with it being a sprint race, I mean, there's still chances of a safety car, but they're very low, and it's not like his feature race will be over either at this stage. ET8 Paul gets him past Luca there, and his teammate Lurch following him through nicely through turns 1, 2, and 3. A big slide there for the Mercedes driver is Stonks and Chudy, the 2 Haas drivers going side by side. They make a little bit of contact. They don't want to make any more, because rule number 1, the golden rule in racing, do not hit your teammate, and Stonks is able to get past Chudy. Alex Marciano was able to make his way up into 6th place from the start of that one. Venom now trying to hound the back of the Haas driver and find. He's going to look to the inside heading into the stadium complex. Would he look for a lunge now, or no? Will he just sit back behind? Lock the rears, nearly goes into the back. Romanian of Judian now through this slow and clumsy stadium section. Venom in his McLaren doesn't seem like he can get close enough just yet, but give it maybe a few laps or so as he uses some battery. He certainly can mount a challenge on the Romanian front. Will he get close enough now? Tucked into the slipstream nicely. It's the McLaren. He's looking maybe to try a late lunge around the outside, but no, Chudy able to hang on, but maybe give it a few laps, and Venom can get even closer and could even maybe mount a challenge.
He definitely can, and remember, DRS actually doesn't come enabled until we get towards turn number 12. So everyone's going to abide by basically just running in a bit of line of stern formation and then getting the DRS through the second part of the lap. And that's what we've got to remember coming into a track like this at Mexico, because of course the DRS detection zone coming through the Ferrosol, at the end of the Ferrosol, the baseball stadium section, is matched, coming down in towards turn 1 and also down in towards turn number 4 as well. They are both shared the same DRS detection zone, as Stonks is on the back of Dirk for the race lead, and this is important now for Stonks to try and get the move done, but I think he's going to wait in behind right now on the back of Dirk, as I alluded to earlier on. Simbarox on a set of softs, as is Nico. He came into the pit lane, in fact, from a set of softs and actually pitted in from a set of mediums onto a set of softs. I think the other one was Andrea on the set of softs, and he's obviously retired out of the race because of his desync. The Stonks now coming through Peraltada, right on the back there of Dirk, through turns 1, down in towards turn 1 we go. He's using up some of that battery to good effect. He might even pull alongside here. Stonks has got too much speed to carry to go not into the race lead, and Stonks actually does decide to go for the race lead. He's through, and he's into number 1 position right now. Dirk there in second, 2D there in third, Venom there in fourth. Just sitting back and relaxing. Stonks obviously using a lot of ERS there. Dirk has got 54% compared to Stonks on 29. So half the amount, double the amount of ERS Dirk has got compared to Stonks right now. 2D there in third, also around double the amount that Dirk has got compared to 2D. So far, so good, I think, for the man in the AlphaTauri, because he is saving a lot more ERS compared to everyone else around him right now.
Yeah, the only driver that really comes close to him in that top 4 is Venom, who's actually got very similar ERS levels. They've not really used as much. as the two Ferrari-powered cars of Stonks and Chudy, and I mean, that could pay dividends come the end of this Grand Prix, but actually Brandox may be looking for a move on Venom, but no, just not going to get close enough to make a lunge into the stadium section now. But Dirk, he just needs to sit within that DRS of Stonks. Of course, we'll get it now heading down the main straight. Will help him gain quite a substantial margin to the Haas driver in front. Of course, Stonks is a reserve here, so I think it's actually his first outing in the Haas team. So that could also be a nice little way to start his partnership, maybe with the Haas driver of Chudy, and get a few points on the board as Bobbitts is able to get past Leo down into turn one. It's been a nice race here from the two McLaren drivers of Bobbitts and Venom. This circuit really is suiting them at the moment. Of course, Venom up in 4th and Bobbitts in 8th. Of course, these two a very tricky season so far, so this could be a confidence boost heading into the feature race and then the next races in this season if they're able to hang on to where they are. But Dirk, he's not really getting closer than I would have thought he would. He loses a lot of time in this middle sector, maybe struggling a bit with some front-end rotation or just not as confident as some of these other drivers through this middle part of the lap on the race setup. So maybe a bit of teething issues here for Dirk. Of course, says he's only done 2 short qualifying sessions, so it might not be as accustomed to the circuit as the others, but Dirk now heading into the stadium section once more is a lot closer than he was last time around, so maybe a little mistake last lap did hinder him slightly, but I don't think he'll be close enough to make a move down into turn 1.
Beautiful camera angle that was coming through, actually, the Feather Soul section. Dirk, I don't think is going to be close, as you say, in towards turn number 1, unless he's got a very good straight line speed and he can actually overtake Stonks in towards turn number 1. But that is not the case. He can just wait in behind right now and just stick there. Daniele's going for Gavano right in the back of camera shot. Now on board with him down in towards turn number 1. The Aston Martin of Daniele locks up. Hazara has to come across the grass there. Picks up a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. That will get removed, I'm sure, because Daniele forced him off track. There was too late on the brakes in towards turn number 1. And all of that led to Gavano losing positions and Simpervox gaining them as 2D and Venom are now side by side. Coming now through the double right of turn 6 and 7. The McLaren on the inside. Hazara picking up a 5-second penalty for corner cutting and gaining in position, so there's now 10 seconds worth of penalties to the end of his race if he doesn't want to come into the pit lane, obviously, and serve them up. But 2D there dropping down to 4th, Venom there through and he's into 3rd. He's got Serpent's Venom right now, quite literally the man in the McLaren. 2D and Brandox there following him behind, but 2D has only got one driver between himself and his title rival in Alex Marciano. Alex there in 6th. On the back of Brandox, 2D there in 4th looking quite good. OP Ryan, by the way, has just invited me, I think, to Console T1, so thank you very much, Ryan. If you want me there in Console T1, I will be there. But Brandox there on the back of 2D, down in towards centerboard, as is Venom on the back of Dirk.
Yeah, this is now going to be a crucial stage to this sprint race and overall championship battle. If Alex Marciano is able to get close enough to make a move on Brandox, or even if the Aston Martin's able to get past the Romanian in the Haas in front of him, that could really spice up that battle for the championship. But look at Venom's run on the AlphaTauri. He's got a beautiful run here on Dirk, trying to recreate the move he did on Chudy just a lap ago, but Dirk to the inside of TTM Stonks. A late lunge by the AlphaTauri. Can't get the move done though, has to resort to sitting behind, and Venom manages to sliver his way up the inside. He waited patiently and was able to get the move done into the double right hand of Venom, using his experience, using his racecraft here in Crossplay Tier 2 to move up to 2nd place, and now has the AlphaTauri all over the back of him, and Chudy as well is looking for a move on his TF10 teammate. Of course, both in different cars. To the inside goes Chudy. Dirk leaves him some room, nearly turns it on him. Brandox looking for a move on the Haas, and now the AlphaTauri sends it back down the inside into the hairpin of the stadium section, but Chudy eventually comes out on top. They're still scrapping though as they now head down this main straight. Will Dirk be able to get close enough to Chudy? He has the battery advantage. He'll be tucked into the slipstream there of the DRS. Will Venom go for a move further up? I don't think so, but here comes Dirk to go round the outside of Tudy. Can he get the move done later on the brakes as he tries to outbrake the Haas? He goes round the outside with the inside for turn 2, outside again for turn 3. There's contact. Dirk is sent into a slide. Brandox now to the outside of Tudy, and this can allow Alex Marciano to get a move done on his championship rival. Side by side now, Brandox is through. Tudy goes a bit deep into the corner. He's trying to get the switch back in the drive on the Aston Martin in front, but cannot do so. Brandox with the slides. Oh, and there's Dirk as well. Dirk with a collision there, I think, maybe with BRT Lou. He drops down places, and there's pandemonium here at the back. As Daniele, I think, might have a bit of front wing damage as well. But Tudy and Alex Marciano locked together now on the circuit. This is going to be crucial for the championship.
It is going to be crucial for the championship. Dirk was trying to go around the outside of Lou. I think he just mistimed it, actually going around the outside. All of that led to a knock-on effect, and Bobbert has got damage as well. Left side end plate damage on the car. Dirk now trying to fight with Leo Tonoletto on the outside line. Goes the Italian down towards Peraltada. Dirk is finding this very, very hard indeed. Top 5 pretty much have it between themselves right now, along with Lou there in the top 6. But here comes Alex Marciano, overtaking his nearest championship rival in Tudy. He's side by side with them down in towards turn number 1 as Daniele retires there in the pit lane. Tudy, though, goes back around the outside of him and towards turn number 1. And Alex Marciano and Tudy are now drawn up the hip as they come now through turns 1 and 2, now through 3, and now down the straight towards 4. Watch out for BRT Lou and all of this as well, because Tudy has a poor run. Lou now on the outside line, and the Alfa Romeo is going to try and get alongside if he can. Tudy on the outside line, now for the inside line, in towards turn number 4, just about hangs on for now. Lou there in 5th. Very, very hard, aggressive racing so far out on track. Stonks there leading the way. Venom in 2nd, Brandox there in 3rd. All of that basting from Alex Marciano and Tudy. And Lou has brought them outside of ERS and DRS range. So Alex Marciano definitely needs to get on with this now in this middle sector. He's caught back up, so he will get the DRS this time around. He's a very, very lucky boy if he does. Dirk there in 7th, though, has got, after that damage, hasn't got any damage, luckily, but he's got Leo all over the back of him, Hazar on the back of him, and there's an overtake going on because Paul and Bobbert are side by side in towards turn number 13, and Paul is through. And he's into 12th, my word. Answers on the postcard, please. Run to lap 10. Stonks leads. Venom 2nd. Brandox there in 3rd. And Stonks currently holding sway, but I don't think he'll be there for long, because Venom has been absolutely snake-like in this race so far.
Yeah, he certainly has. He really has some good pace in that McLaren, and it just shows the unluckiness of the McLaren drivers with Bobberts picking up that wing damage. No fault of his own, and there is now dropping down the order, but I reckon he'll want to stay out and try and get the best position possible with Leo and I think Giovanni make a little bit of contact there. You also have Venom versus Stonks versus further up. Venom not able to get the move done on Stonks. He was just sitting in behind, just got very close to the back of the Haas in front, but Giovanni now dropping down places. Him and Paul now going side by side as they head through turn 5 and up into turn 6. Round the outside goes the Ferrari. He's gone really deep and really wide. He has to lose the place to the Mercedes driver, and Giovanni dropping down an abundance of places in the last few corners. Down 3 places in 5 corners, and Giovanni down into 12th place. Of course, top 8 score points in the sprint. And at the moment, that final points paying position is going to go to Leo due to Hazara's penalties. And Dirk just going to be leading the Alpine through. But further up, so we're about to enter the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix. Venom getting close to the back of Stonks, but look at Brandox as well. He's waiting in the wings in case anything happens to this top 2 in front. I don't think Venom will go for a move this time around. He'll want to wait, but he's got to look out for Brandox behind. As it now head into turn 1, there's a little bit of maybe some DRS chicken there between Venom and Stonks. Stonks just not wanting to really lead heading onto that final lap, so he'll want to maybe have a poorer run through the stadium section, pull to that outside line at the last minute, and then try to tuck back in behind the McLaren. But as it stands, Stonks just staying ahead of Venom as we're on this penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, of the sprint race, sorry, and it's going to boil all the way down to the wire with any of this top 6 within a chance of winning this sprint. Yeah, it's going to boil down all right. Stonks there leading the way, Venom 2nd, Brandox there in 3rd. Honestly, right now, if I was in Venom's shoes, I'd be sitting right there pretty in 2nd position, but I'd also be watching out behind because Brandox has got
nearly double the amount of ERS as him. So Brandox seems to be the one sitting pretty there in third position. Maybe Venom doesn't realise that he's got more ERS than him right now as Brandox, and Brandox there in third, looking good. They come on to the final lap of the race, the final 5.5 kilometres of this race now going. Stonks there leads the way, but he's going to be not there for long because Venom is going to try and charge at him in towards turn 1. I don't think he's actually close enough though to try and make an impactful move in towards turn 1. Brandox there getting now getting fourth. Venom looks to the inside line, close up very, very quickly indeed to the back of him. Brandox though is going to have the run on both of them if he gets a good run out of the chicane, which he does out of turn number 3. He'll have a good run, and now he can drain all of that battery, all of that overtake mode to try and use that up. He's saving a bit up for the second half of the race though. In the second half of this lap, Venom there looking to the inside line on Stonks, makes a bit of contact. Stonks there still leads. Venom in second, Brandox there in third. Brandox has definitely got a chance of winning this one. Getting boxed in there slightly, the McLaren on the inside line through turn number 6, but Stonks there leads the way. He is having to hang on pretty much like he did for his lap in TTM in the Legacy Division qualifiers. He's now pulling away, coming through the SA section for the final time in the sprint. Stonks, I think, might have this. Venom there in second, Brandox in third, Alex Marciano and 2D are going to be side by side into the Parasol. And actually there, 2D tries to go around the outside of the Romanian, he can't, on the Brazilian of the NLR man. And there looks the outside line on Lou. Lou now getting involved in this as well. Brandox getting under pressure from Alex Marciano. Lurch out of the race. Through the final couple of corners we come.
Oh,
Stonks though to the line, takes the race win. Venom in second, Brandox in third, but what on earth is happening to 2D? Did he get forced in the wall?
No, Lou tapped him into the final corner and spun him round. He's going to drop down to, I think, 9th place in this one, and
Wow.
he is. He's not going to score any points. Shoots a bit. Lou, I think, just went too aggressive into that final corner. He hit the diffuser of the Haas as well, so it wasn't even like it was a half-hearted move. He just went in too aggressive, too hot, and spun Chudy around, and that really does throw a big curveball into this championship battle. Now, Alex Marciano, 4th place for him, good points, of course, extends his championship lead ever so slightly, but for Chudy, I mean, that's just heartbreaking for him. Of course, we do have the feature race coming up, but for a sprint where those few points could be crucial to the end of this season, that really does throw a curveball into this with him scoring no points and Alex Marciano extended his gap at the top to 7 points here.
Yeah, very nicely done indeed from Alex Marciano in 4th. Unlucky for 2D down at 9th. He is certainly going to be better than 9th position in the feature, but Stonks takes the race win. Venom there in second, Brandox there in third. That chopped and changed very much so in the final lap of the race. Stonks in the end taking the win. Alex Marciano there down in 4th. That's the race director. Don't want that. Lou there in 5th. Dirk there in 6th. Then Simbarock 7th. Paul in 8th. 2D 9th. And Zozo ran off the top 10. Then it's Bobbert, Hazara, Gavano, Leo and Luca top 15. Then Flo, Nico, Lurch, who DNF'd on the final lap of the race all by himself through the SA section. Daniele DNFing, as well as Andrea, and I've just realised we didn't catch half the results there, but there we are. That's the sprint race done. Feature race up and coming. We'll be back after these commercial breaks. Apologies, I might have clicked on the wrong thing there towards the end of the advert, but we are back live here for WOR League and Crossplay Tier 2, of course. We're here for Cosplay Tier 2. It's Mexico as the feature race, and we're about to get going out on track once again. In the end, a fantastic race win from the man of Stonks, from Venom in second. Brandox there finishing in third in the sprint. Sets it well and truly up for the feature race, given how 2D down in ninth having strife with Lou and ripping in from in the Discord, and Alex Marcion in fourth gaining points on him. It's going to be a spicy one.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I mean, now we've got Chudy coming from 9th place on the grid. He's going to be a man on a mission here. He's a bit riled up after that collision, so we can maybe see him be a bit more aggressive than what he usually is, making some moves up through the order. And also we've got Venom up in second as well. It's a bit unknown territory for both him and Stonks, really. Of course, Stonks, that was the first points he scored all season in that sprint race, so what a way to do it with a win in the sprint. So Stonks, he's looking for a good result. Venom is as well after, as I say, a very tricky season, a very difficult season for him. Of course, not been on the podium, I don't think, so far this season. So Venom, he's looking for a strong result. And this now throws it into Alex Marciano's hands. It was in Chudy's hands heading into the sprint, and now into this feature, it's now into Alex's hands about where he can place his car in this Grand Prix. So it's all going to be down to tyre management, battery management, especially around a circuit like this. Keeping within DRS, that's another big thing around a circuit like Mexico, because once you're out of it, heading down that main straight, the drivers in front gain an abundance of time on you, and also strategy. That is going to be another big factor in this Grand Prix. Probably everyone going to go for a hard medium, but don't be surprised if someone goes for a soft medium, medium soft. It is doable, but that's a push around here, so yeah, look out on the strategy front and also on tyre management, battery management, and DRS. But James, take us away.
Let's go. 5 lights about to go out here in the feature, and it is already lights out, and away we go. Venom gets a good start. Brandox again on the start. Very, very strong. Might pull alongside on the back of Venom, and Stonks in the second phase of the start. But Stonks and Venom will lead down and towards turn 1 there, side by side. Bit of grass for mowing there from Lou. I think that was getting forced off there. On from the back of Dirk. Dirk trying to go around the outside action. Alex Marciano in the meantime. Stonks there leading. Venom in second. Brandox there in third. And already the front two pulling away by 8/10 of a second. It's nearly 3 wide in the background. I think everyone got clean through turns 1, 2, and 3 safely. And now it's 3 wide and towards turn number 4. The first pinch point on the track. Dirk forcing it to the inside line on Brandox and on the inside Alex Marciano. Might get a good switch back on the back of the Aston Martin. He does indeed. Switches it to the inside line. Beautiful move by Dirk. Thuni's into fourth. Bit aggressive further down the field. Gavano and Daniele coming into a bit of strife there further down. But Stonks there leading the way through the SA section for the first time. Venom there in second. Alex Marciano there in third. Everyone pretty much on a set of hard compound of tyres. Flo being the exception on a set of softs. Daniele on a set of mediums. Andrea on a set of softs as well. But toward the end of lap 1, Stonks leads the way through the Ferrosol for the first time. Venom in second. Alex Marciano in third. Dirk there in fourth. And in the end, 2D there has lost a position. He's got Flo right on the back of him coming through the Ferrosol on that set of soft compound of tyre. Those set of softs clearly working for Flo. However, it's going to be very difficult for him to get past later on in the race. He needs to make these moves right about now.
Yeah, he certainly does. Here comes Bobberts actually on ET8 pool, and also Dirk on Brandox getting past Dirk as well in the foreground. Look at Bobberts. He might actually get 2 cars down this straight to the inside of Simbarock and gets the move done. Nicely done there from Bobberts using his battery, but of course we'll need to try to gain a bit more back in this middle part of the lap and throughout the rest of this race if we don't want to hinder his progress later on. But up to 7th now for Bobberts. So he started 11th, so he's gained quite a few places. Flo's got past Chudy as well. Chudy falling backwards. We saw this in the sprint as well. He didn't have the greatest race pace. So it could be another scenario like Singapore where he's just going to keep dropping and dropping further and further back. And that could be, again, another massive call for the championship as well. So Chudy needs to pick up the pace here if he wants to keep his championship hopes alive. And Alex Marciano up into the podium places with a nice move actually on Brandox. We've mainly focused on Dirt there, but Alex Marciano round the outside, then led to the inside and was able to get past the Aston Martin. But everybody's still within DRS of each other, so we have a whole field DRS train from hopefully turn 12 onwards. But we still do have TF10 Flow trying to get to the back of ET8 Paul. Will he lose 2 places and 2 laps down the main straight? The Mercedes driver will Flow be able to get a move done up into turn 4. He's going to sit behind the Mercedes here. We'll get a better drive out of turn 3. Will he be able to utilise that low as he now heads through turn number 3 now? He's all over the back of the Mercedes, going to use a bit of battery. He knows he needs to make these soft tyres work. He's going to pull to the outside line. This will leave him the inside line, but Paul doesn't fight it. He knows that the softs will die off shortly, and Paul, with a very wise option not to lose too much time to the cars in front, and allows Flow through. So Flow up to 9th. Stonks still leads the way up in front. DRS is enabled this lap, and you should see the rear wing of the McLaren open within the next few seconds.
And you'll also see Brandux right on the back of Alex Marciano as well, really hassling the back of him, coming through the SA section there. Lost a bit of time on the exit, just coming through the final couple of corners there at the end of the middle sector. But he is just pushing Alex Marciano, maybe just to go a little bit quicker as Andrea was through and Lurch down in towards that part of the track, turn 13. So that is him through into 19th position. Hopefully he hasn't got a lag overtake going on there like he did and getting ridden on quite literally in the sprint. Let's hope that doesn't happen again for you younger viewers. Stunks there leading the way, Venom there in second, Alex Marciano there in third. Everyone I think is just going to run in a big old DRS train. However, Venom isn't. Venom to the inside line goes for the race lead, and that's actually a little bit of a shock to me, because I thought Venom would have just sat in behind and waited until the pit stops potentially. But Stonks there now in second, Alex Marciano in third. Venom now can just pull away slightly, maybe get him out of DRS range if he can. Stonks sticking with him though in terms of the ERS range, but Venom currently holding sway out in front. Stonks second, Alex Marciano in third. Honestly, if I was in Venom's shoes there, I would have actually just waited in behind, maybe force Alex Marciano into play, get the move done for him, and let all hell break loose at the front. But Venom taking the race lead, I don't think that's the smartest thing to do. He's just going to be chopping and changing positions now for the race lead, surely.
Yeah, I think he maybe thinks he might have a bit more pace as Lurch picks up the first 3-second time penalty of this Grand Prix. Easy to pick up warnings around a circuit like Mexico, so that's another thing the drivers need to look out for, is how many penalties they pick up. But I think Venom might have seen he might have a bit more pace than Stonks, was getting a little bit held up, or he just wants to manage this one. He wants to dictate the pace of this train, but of course with that really long front straightaway, you're not really going to be able to dictate the pace that you want, because you're always going to have the driver behind harassing your rear wing and your diffuser. And will Stonks maybe look to the inside this time around? He will. He wants to lead the race again. So yeah, we could maybe see Venom think, oh yeah, he's just going to keep doing this, so I will just sit behind him, or they're genuinely just going to keep changing positions here. What Venom could do is just sit behind the Haas car in front and build up his battery to a full 100%. So it's a little bit of a shock, but I can understand it as well as Lurch leaves the session. I don't know if there's a little bit of lag on his side as Alex Marciano and Brandox are scrapping into turn numbers 4 and 5, but the Williams manages to come out on top. But yeah, Venom, either now he realises what will happen if he just keeps overtaking the Haas, or he will keep changing positions with Stonks, and they'll just keep swapping back and forth. But if I was in Venom's shoes as well, I would sit behind the Stonks and build that battery up, and also just give me that time to manage the tyres, as that's actually Andrea around, and it brings out the virtual safety car if he loses his front wing.
Yeah, front wing lost there for Andrea. I think he lost that by himself. Lurch obviously not in the session, so nobody around him. Andrea losing the front wing off that car. Oh, nearly lost his car, actually, going through in towards turn 13 there. Tier 1, by the way, is also live. If you do want to catch Tier 1, you might want to tune in for that, to be honest, because qualifying, it is intermediate conditions in qualifying. Full grid at the minute. They're on board with F7R Jerome, who's currently on a lap right now. VSC, though, deployed here out on track. Lap 6 out of 36, a sixth of the way through here in Mexico, and it's Stonks leading the way. Venom in second, Alex Marciano in third, then Brunnock's fourth, Dirk in fifth, Lou in sixth, Bob at seventh, Simbarox in eighth, Flo in ninth, Paul rounding off the top 10, then it's 2D in 11th after a bit of a woeful start, to be honest, from him. He did say in the chat he would fall asleep on the race. Maybe he's fallen asleep over the first few laps. Zozo there, along with Luca, Daniele and Hazara top 15, then Leo, Gavano, Nico, Lurch and Andrea the top 20. Andrea's in the pit lane there, replacing his front wing. We're back underway though. The VSC has departed, and Daniele and Luca are side by side. through the midfield, coming in towards turn 6 there. Man on the side of hards against the man on the side of mediums. Daniele, I think, was just going to better hold on to this one. Thune goes into 13th position, just about holding that position. Luca there in 14th, but Luca there underneath the restart, looking very, very strong indeed right now. Stonks leading the way, Venom second, Alex Marciona in third, but a very shrewd restart, I think, by everyone, just keeping their powders dry.
Yeah, I think it also didn't help where the restart actually was in that
Oh!
middle part of the lap. Did you also have that lag spike for Brandox?
Yes, I did.
I was going to say, because it also happened on my screen. It looked like it was going straight on into the wall. But yeah, Brandox, I mean, he was all over the back of Alex, but wasn't really able to do anything. Again, just due to where the restart was. It was in the part of the circuit where you don't want it to be around if you want to make some moves around Mexico and catch someone napping, because it's too tight and twisty, and you're probably going to get held up by them. So it's just unfortunate how that virtual safety car did end, and I mean for Andrea as well, it's unfortunate that his evening has just gone so horribly wrong since the sprint race. So I mean, there's still chance he could come back if there is another safety car in this one, but chances are very limited around Mexico. It's not a circuit where safety cars are all too common with the higher tiers, just due to the fact it is quite an open circuit until you get into that final part of the lap. But still, Brandox, I feel like, has probably got the best race pace here out this top 4. And if he's able to be unleashed, can really cause a challenge. As Andrea picks up a 3-second time penalty as well, so boots to his bad race. But I feel like Venom probably he's now just sitting behind. He's learned after what when he overtook Stonks, and now he's just going to sit behind the Haas car and build that battery up. But further back, I think Flo's soft tyres will be hitting the cliff eventually, and that will see the likes of Paul, Chudy, and Zorzo heading through. But yeah, it's been a really poor opening 8 laps here for Chudy, down in 11th place, and not really looking like it's going to improve for the time being. And this is a real big points difference in the championship now if this is able to go off. At the moment, Alex scoring 15 and Chudy scoring 0.
Yeah, which is going to be big for the championship moving forward. Cameron Dowd, remember, will still lead the way even after tonight. He's currently there in Division 1, so if you do want to chat, you want to have a look at Tier 1 and seeing that ongoing, you can do. Otherwise, you can just stick with the best commentary team in the business here, myself and Max, in the commentary box, giving you the action here in Tier 2 in WOR Crossplay Tier 2. And it's Stonks leading the way, Venom in second, Alex Marciano there in third. Leo, though, was on the back of Azara for a second, coming down in towards turn 1. The Red Bull looking pretty close there on the back of the Norwegian. The Norwegian fresh from a good result in midweek. Stonks there, though, just hanging sway out at the minute, not really wanting to go for the move. And Venom, I think, may be listening to me, to be honest, to what I said earlier, because he went for that move, then Stonks retook the lead, and Venom hasn't been to the lead since. And Venom there is saving up that ERS. 97% for him. Stonks is on 89. Alex Marciano on 73. So Venom is managing his ERS a hell of a lot better than Alex is in behind. Brandox there's on 95. So Alex is a bit of a concern at the minute in terms of ERS usage. He's there in third. Looking good at the minute, though, for Venom, right on the back of Stonks. Clearly taking the James Head approach here.
Yeah, he certainly is. And I feel like, as I say, from that earlier mistake that he did, and now he's just going to sit behind pretty much all the way till the end of the Grand Prix for him. I mean, of course, we do have the pit stop phase that he needs to navigate, and I feel like this is really how it's going to be with these front runners, is that they're all just going to be in this train for as long as possible until those final few laps of this Grand Prix. So it might be a little bit of a boring one, but strategy is going to play a big role as well. The undercut, very powerful around the circuit like this due to how many slow speed corners there are. So traction is crucial, and getting on a set of fresh mediums compared to 15, 16, maybe even 19 lap old hards at times can really affect the traction out the corner, and then you can gain an abundance of time on the car in front, but of course you'll lose that further on into the race, that you then have the older tyres compared to the cars behind. So as Giovanni picks up a 3-second time penalty, but Venom still just sitting behind, now has a full tank of battery, loses it of course because he's on the power, so the battery will deplete slightly. But still, this whole the top 18 are all still within DRS of one another, so it shows how close this field really is. As Venom's actually going for the move now, heading into turn 1. We say he was waiting behind, maybe, again, just wanted to build that battery, and now he wants to dictate the pace again, as he has a big slide out to turn 3, but for Stonks, there's not going to be no DRS for him, so Venom will keep the lead, heading down up into turn 4, and Venom, now your race leader once more.
Yeah, Venom not taking the James Head approach now by going to the race lead. Stonks, though, in second, really being shrewd, I think. Oh, there's a bit of a Constantino effect there, slightly. Going in towards turn number 6, the double right-hander. Alex Marciano contacted the back of Stonks. Stonks, I think, was slow coming out of the corner. Then Brandok's got involved in that as well. Everyone, I think, has got away with no front wing damage there, but just interesting that there was a bit of Constantino effect, and that is what can happen around here. The top 13 are covered by a big old DRS train. Luke are the one now struggling in behind, along with Hazara and Leo and Gavano. Gavano, by the way, was one of the guys that I predicted potentially for the race win, before, off-stream, albeit as well. I'm glad I didn't predict them on-stream, because they're down in 17th position. So, at least we're getting something right. Venom there leading the way, Stonks there in second, Alex Marciano there in third. I think Stonks may look for the move here, down towards turn 1. His closing speed will be a lot quicker compared to Venom's speed. There's about 10-15 mile an hour difference down the straight, and because Stonks is closing in too quickly, he goes back into the race lead. Venom there in second. Locks up there in towards turn 1 though. Puts Venom now in the forefront, maybe to try and get the switch back out of 3, and Venom might actually try and come back at him here in towards turn number 4. I think Stonks is going to hang on to the race lead for now. Watch out him behind though, because Brandox is getting involved in this. Alex Marciano getting involved in this as well. Everyone now just holding sway once again as we come on to lap 11 out of 36. Stonks leading from Venom in second, Alex Marciano in third, Brandox in fourth, and Dirk your top 5 right now. Looking down at 9th position there, Max. Flow on that set of soft compounder tyres. Doing a good job. Those tyres are not falling off as half as I thought they would have been right now. Lap 11 in, and Flo was sticking with Simbarock, sticking with Paul, but now in the middle sector, that's where his tyres are beginning to go. Through that middle sector, losing a bit of time. I think if I was Flo, I was going to say before he gets overtaken by Paul, but that's already happened. Paul's up the inside of turn number 13. Flo now, I think because Paul's overtaken him, I think he needs to come in the pits.
Yeah, that could be a real big question here for Flo, is when does he come into the pit lane? I would say maybe give him 2 or 3 more laps. They are starting to hit the cliff now, but he's been able to manage them nicely in this DRS train. Of course, the virtual safety car helped as well, so he's now in that sort of stage where he needs to come in within the next few laps. As here comes Chudy on the Alfa Romeo, both Ferrari-powered cars, as he moves to the inside and then into the points. For really the first time in this Grand Prix is the Romanian up into 10th place now, and scoring a point at the moment could be crucial come the end of the season, but it's just not really been the opening 12 laps that Chudy will want to remember, as Venom's still all over the back of Stonks, not able to make a move into turns 4 or 5, not going to get the run into turn 6 either, but yeah, I would say this lap or maybe the next, Flo really needs to come into the pit lane and change from those soft compounder tyres onto a set of the hards. Ooh. And that could benefit him as well. Here is Brandox all over the back of Alex Marciano as well. The concertina effect is at big play here as well, because of course it goes all the way down to 17th place, does this train. So drivers need to look out. Venom's still all over the back of Stonks as well, as we now head into the hairpin of the stadium section. But again, just no one going to be close enough for a move down the inside. Flo, does he come into the pit lane? We'll have a look now this time around. Flo, is he looking to move into the pits? No, he stays out for another lap. But further up, Venom obviously going to now swap places with Stonks. But another driver that he needs to look out for here is Alex Marciano, because he's going to get closer and closer. Chudy gets past Paul. He's starting to make some moves, so maybe it was a bit conservative at the start of this Grand Prix. He's now got past Simbarox as well. Nice. Bobbert-esque, getting past both Paul and Simbarox there, and that's Flo as well, battling with Sorzo. He's been forced out wide. That's going to allow Daniele down the inside as well to move him up into 12th place in the Aston Martin. And now we might be able to see a resurgence from both Chudy and Daniele, who shouldn't be down in these places that they are in, but now starting to make their way up the order. And 8th and 12th for them for now, but we'll wait and see how far they can progress as this race continues.
Yeah, definitely. So I think Chudy, certainly with his move, he was very, very shrewd in getting that move done. It was really well timed. really well thought about as well. Simbarox and Paul now not necessarily going to be as quick as 2D now, I think, at this stage in the race, but you never know. They can keep up. They're in a DRS train, so they may as well keep up right on the back of him. But if I was in their shoes right now, I'd be trying to stick with 2D and try and gain the extra positions that is needed, because 2D's now beginning to really come into this race. He's on the back of Bobbert, on the back of Lou, and he's looking very, very quick all of a sudden. It's just he's literally flicked the switch like the Stig on Top Gear. It's literally like the flick the switch in a car, from the reasonably priced car, now into a Haas car here in sim racing. But 2D there and 8, doing a good job. He's on the back of Bobbert, but it's almost as if there's been a light flickered, quite literally in his brain, and think, right, I need to get on with this. If I want to try and make moves, I've got to make them now. And he's there in 8th position, doing a good job, as Luke and Leo were side by side through turns 2 and 3, out of the chicane, and now it's going to be 3 wide, because the Ferraris and the Red Bull are side by side. Gavano now trying to get both of them around the outside. He does indeed. All of that leading from Luca and Leo, having a hard, aggressive battle. Gavano now through, and he's into 15th position. Shrewd ever the man from the Netherlands. He's through and he's into 15th.
Yeah, a really nice opportunistic move there from Gavano to really capitalise on Leo and Luca's battle, when they're still scrapping through the middle part of that, but Luca does come out on top. And it does feel odd after seeing all the drivers in Ferrari usually hit the front, but they're both down in 15th and 16th. It's been a race to forget for them so far, as Luca defending still from Leo behind, also Vellum about 4 tenths ahead of Stonk. So I don't really see any switches between those two for this lap. Maybe next lap Stonks can get closer, but what Stonks is doing is just pulling out of the slipstream actually, and just not wanting to gain on the McLaren in front. So obviously just happy where he is. He knows he can build the battery, save the tyres, save the and maybe even save some fuel if he's underfueled the car in the process, and just focus on really what's going to happen over the next few laps in the pit window, as Luca gets past FRT Nico as well. Nico's actually dropped down a few places as it stands, and he's passed Leo now in the Red Bull. He's looking at the Ferrari in front of Luca, the Scarlet Red Ferrari, but cannot get past as we head into turns 4 and 5. Lou further up, he's getting closer to Dirk as well. We've not really focused on the likes of Lou, Bobberts, Dirk, or even really Simbarox in this one. Simbarox, of course, got overtaken by Chudy a few laps ago and is still over the back of the Haas, starting to harass the Ferrari-powered car in front. Brandock's all over the back of Alex Marciano. Drivers getting closer to each other, but no one really pulling the trigger up the front just yet to make the moves. Give it maybe a lap or two when the pit window really does open, and that's where you see drivers maybe becoming a bit more aggressive, wanting that trap position for the pit stop phase, and pulling that trigger and making that overtake.
Yeah, Alex is catching the back of Stonks as well. He's trying to harass the Haas right now in third. It's a bit of a mouthful to say that, so I may as well just say it once. Alex on the back of the Haas there of Stonks in third. He's trying to obviously get on the back of him if he can. Dirk there in fifth on the back of Brandox. Everyone just filtering through turns 1, 2 and 3 safely once again. We have, however, had our first pit stop, and it's not a real unexpected pit stop. It's Flo into the pit lane. Set of medium compound tyres on. Now, 20 laps on a set of mediums, I think, is going to be pretty hard to do from this point in the race, but I think it'll be manageable for him. If he gets the rate at around about 4.5–5% per lap in terms of wear, he'll be fine to the end of the race, and Nico and Luca are once again side by side. Coming through the right-hand of turn number 6, and once again in towards turn number 7. Do not go side-by-side through here. They're going to be absolutely suicidal. The AlphaTauri and their Ferrari are side-by-side. Still through the S section. Luca on the inside line. Nico on the outside line. How on earth they haven't made contact there, I do not know. Leo says, thank you very much. That's a free position for me. He's into 16. But that was absolutely criminal from them to go side by side. Nico's been spun. The Red Bull now gets away with it. Leo there escapes the scene of the accident. Nico there spinning round as well, recovering the car, as it looks like Dirk is into the pit lane. Dirk is into the pits. AlphaTauri, man, on a set of hards. Undercut is quite potent around here. At around about 4 seconds, the pit stop has happened. Dirk is into the pit lane, no front wing damage on the car, set of mediums on the car, and now we can think about the move as Leo is retired in the pit lane and Stonks has taken the race lead.
Yeah, Leo, a first retirement of the race. Unfortunate for him there, but Stonks, yes, now taking the lead. But Dirk has triggered this undercut phase now. I think it is maybe a bit reactionatory to Flo as well, but of course the mediums will make it to the end from this part of the Grand Prix. They will be able to make it all the way till lap 36 with no real worries about a puncture for these drivers. So now they can be a bit more aggressive on the tyre, start pushing slightly more, but now this undercut phase is going to be crucial for Dirk. He's 21.8 seconds off the race lead, and that's going to be getting closer and closer. That gap's going to keep shrinking and shrinking lap by lap, as it's now already 21.4. He's finding time at every single traction zone just due to how much grip those medium tyres are providing him with. Does any of the top three, maybe even top four coming into the pit lane? Yes, Donks comes into the pit lane. So our first driver of the top five into the pit lane, it's TTM Stonks. What? Of course, he'll go on to the mediums, but where does he come out in relation to Dirk? That is going to be the big question here as the AlphaTauri now heads through the final corner of the circuit. Stonks is now trundling his way down the pit lane and will now be able to put the foot to the floor once more as he releases the pit limiter. Dirk's going to get him. He's going to have the overspeed, and Dirk is ahead of Stonks. Will Flo be able to get the Haas as well? He is pulling to the outside of the Haas driver. He's going to look to the inside, though, to defend his position. Was race leader in this one, and Flo has to sit behind, but he will have the DRS heading up into turn 4 and 5 here, but doesn't seem like he'll be close enough. But Stonks drops behind Dirk, and that could be big for the likes of Brandox, Alex Marciano and Venom, as now they will certainly come out behind the Haas, but not only him, the AlphaTauri and the Alfa Romeo of Dirk and Flo as well.
Yeah, definitely so, and this is what I mean about the undercut. The undercut is so powerful around this track. You've got to be careful when you decide to pit in. Stonks is all over the back of Dirk through that middle sector, as is Flo. I'm not sure if there's a little bit of interval timing glitch going on there, but Venom is in. Venom is into the pit lane from the race lead, and Stonks now in 14th position, trying to follow through on the back of Dirk. They're fighting aggressively through the middle part of the Ferrosol. Venom's into the pit lane. McLaren pit box, of course, is halfway down the pit lane, so this is going to be even closer compared to Dirk and Nico and the likes coming through the final corner. Nico pits in. There is Venom coming out of the pit lane. He's going to be miles behind. He's going to be nearly a second behind, I think, coming out of the pit lane. And now Stonks is going side by side with Dirk in towards turn number 1. Is the Haas going to look to the back end of the AlphaTauri? Is he going to look for the move in towards turn 1? You bet he will. Flies to the inside line. Beautiful move by Stonks. He retakes the net race lead of the race at the minute. Dirk there now under pressure from Flo, and Flo getting in the groove, quite literally. Groove is in the heart for him, down in 13th position. Dirk there in 12th, Flo 13th, and Venom, as I said, when he was coming out the pit lane, he's just more than a second behind. But now, because they're all fighting, now he's back in DRS range.
Yeah, that is going to be crucial as well. It's also just the tyre difference come the end of the race. He'll be able to close in on the drivers in front in the next few laps or so, because of course his tyres will be on much less wear than them. But you also need to look out for is that the top 10 don't have DRS, and Venom's actually out of the DRS. That could be crucial for his Grand Prix. Giovanno picks up a 3-second time penalty. He's the first driver out of the top 10 so far.
Oh, no!
They now all flurry into the pit lane. Zorzo into the back of Paul. Yeah. He picks up a 5-second time penalty for it. And let's see where the likes of Zorzo, Paul, Bobbers, and Simbarox all come out in relation to the likes of Flo and Dirk, who they were battling with. And they're going to be miles behind at this point, but just give it a few laps when, of course, they have the tyre advantage and they're able to climb that, claw that gap back. They'll be closer and closer each lap. And Stonk still leading this train of Dirk, Flo, and Venom. Don't think Venom's going to be able to get any moves done on the drivers in front of him just yet, but give it to maybe about lap 23, then he'll be able to get past the Alfa Romeo, at least, you would think, in this Grand Prix. He has the pace for the race victory here today, and he's looking strong on lap 20 of 36 here.
Call me Mr. James, by the way, in terms of how many seconds I predicted in terms of an undercut. It's about 4 seconds between Daniele and Venom, which is exactly what I thought it would be, which is really, really strong indeed, showing why Brandox, Alex Marciano, Lou and Sudi need to come in the pit lane. I think this lap or next lap would be ideal for them to try and factor in as Brandox is in. Brannox is the only one, I think, out of the top 4 that is coming into the pit lane. He is indeed. He's into the pit lane now. Stonks, Dirk, and Flo already midway through the Ferrosol section, so this is going to be miles behind for Brandox. He's going to be behind potentially Simba Rocks and the likes, even if he's not careful. When he filters out, there is this big gap between the McLaren and the Aston Martin. Could come out on that, but I think he's going to be behind Bobbitt's coming out of the pit lane. Brannock's at the end of the pit lane now. There is Daniele. There is Bobbitt's. Bobbitt's overtaking Daniele, and he is behind the Aston Martin, his own teammate, in Daniele. So that is not too bad at all for Brandox. He's got ahead of Simbarox, which is good for him, and that is also good as well for ERS later on in the race. Alex Marciano leads, Lou second, 2D and third, Gavano fourth. They're all yet to come in the pit lane. Everyone else deciding to stick out there on that set of mediums, of course. Daniele, interestingly though, we didn't actually mention this, I don't think, when he came in. Went on just on a hard compound of tyres, and he's there in 10th, ahead of Brandox. Is he feeling like potentially the mediums aren't going to get to the end and that there's going to be potential punctures towards the end of the race as well?
Well, I mean, he did start the medium tyre.
Oh, he's on medium, yeah.
That in. Yeah, he also has to factor in that he has to swap tyre compounds, but they could be quite strong come the end of the race, actually, those hard compounded tyres, due to the fact they will have less wear on them and could maybe provide a bit more grip. And actually, on that last lap, Venom and managed to get past both Dirk and Flo, and it's just brought the DRS back to Stonks in front of him. Giovanni Lu and Alex Marciano now all flurrying into the pit lane, so it's only Tudy now left to stop in this Grand Prix. Where do the likes of Alex Marciano and Lou come out into this one? Of course, they were with Stonks and everybody, but they're going to come out behind the likes of Simbarox, Paul and Zorzo here. That's going to be crucial for their races because they have to navigate so much traffic and be a championship leader, theoretically, as Dirk picks up a 3-second time penalty. That could be the difference between getting a podium and finishing in maybe 5th, 6th or 7th place here. So Alex Marciano with a lot of work left to do as Paul is going side by side here with Simbarox. He gets the move done on the Red Bull. The Mercedes now up into 9th place on the road. Tudy, as I say, the only one left to stop. Venom's still over the back of Stonks, but with a lot less battery, having to use it to get past both Flo and Dirk. And really, I feel like for the most part of the final few laps here, until the others catch up, it is going to be a race between Stonks and Venom for this race victory, unless the likes of Bobbitt's, Daniele and Brandox can all catch up to the top 2.
Yeah, definitely. So looking at Tier 1, by the way, as Tudy's now in the pit lane from the race lead. Enzo out on top, Cameron Dowds in second, Joe Murphy in third at the end of qualifying. And very interesting end to qualifying because it did dry up at the end of that qualifying session. They are going to get underway very soon indeed in Tier 1. So if you do want to watch that crossplay Tier 1, you can do. If you want to stick with us, you can do that as well. If you want to get a double screen, you can do that as well. Brandox is overtaking Daniele. Getting moves done down the straight. There's plenty kicking off because those are side by side with Zimbarox in towards turn number 1 as well. The man who carved his way through the field in PSGL PSF2 on Monday, he's looking to try now get that 3-second penalty out of his system, or a 5-second penalty for hitting in the pit lane out of his system. He's on the back now. Paul gets disposal of Zimbarox pretty easily, and now he's got paid to try and show later on in the race as well. 2D, by the way, coming out of the pit lane, 15th position. Alex Marciano, though, luckily is not in the points at the minute. He's down in 12th position. So as it stands, the only advantage will be for Alex Marciano was from the sprint race. And that was only a handful of points, I think. So Alex Marciano in 12th, 2D 15, not scoring points at the minute. It seems to be, at this stage of the race, barring any safety cars, the top 4 separated by around about 3 seconds. The likes of Bobbitt, Brandox, the likes of the ones who were leading, 2D as well, right down the field, Alex Marciano and Lou right down the field as well. It seems to me as if it's between Stonks, Venom, Dirk and Flo at this stage of the race for the race win with still 12 laps to go.
Yeah, it certainly is, but Bobbitt is slowly working his way up to the back of Flo in front of him. We also have Simbarox versus Lou. That's going to be over 10th place, the final points paying position. We also have Alex Marciano behind them. And talking about one of the Williams drivers, Sorzo's making his way down the inside of Paul. He's late on the brakes. Paul's still keeping a nose in, but can't defend his position. Zorzo up into 8th place. And of course does have that 5-second time penalty. Got 2 podiums so far this season, does the Williams driver. And now looking to the outside of Daniele. Got to make sure he's not on the grass for the braking. Easily to lock the rears, but gets the move done now. Beautiful. Into turn 5. They're still side by side. forces the Aston Martin wide. He picks up a 3-second time penalty, and so does Nico. And there goes the Williams up into 7th place, gaining 2 places in 2 DRS zones as Lou is looking for a move on BRT pull as well. Marciano was able to get past Simbarox in all of that too, so he's making his way up the order. He's nearly on the verge of the points in this one, as here comes Lou on ET8 pull. To the inside goes the Alfa Romeo. He's been up in the top 5 for quite a majority of this Grand Prix, and up into 9th place he goes. Now all over the back of the Haas is Alex Marciano looking for a move as well on ET8 pull. A little bit of a late sender, half-hearted move from the Williams driver. He's now going to try and get the best drive he possibly can out the corner, the best momentum to give him the best run at the Mercedes driver in front. He can see Paul is flashing, he's derating, he's got less than 10% battery, he pulls to the inside line, and Alex Marciano gonna get that move done on Paul, but we'll have to confirm it on the brakes, and there he goes as Daniele defending from Zorzo. He's managed to get back past the Williams. Zorzo has to sit behind the Aston Martin once more as Nico pulls into the pit lane to retire, and here comes Lou to the outside of the Alfa Romeo. Maybe he was going to try and get the Aston Martin. He cuts down underneath him. It's side by side now into turn 4. He tried cutting underneath.
Oh, no.
He's gone for the switchback. What drive can he get? It could be beautiful here for Lou to the inside of Daniele. It's a really nice move, as I think Alex Marciano is disconnected from the session in this one. Actually, no, he's ghosting through his teammate. Maybe a little bit of desync there between them. But Lou, what a move to get past 2 drivers there. Got past Zorzo, cut underneath Daniele, then got the switch back again, and up into 7th place now for the Alfa Romeo driver. And look at Bobberts. It's now 1.8 between him and Flo in front.
Alex Marciano sends one on Daniele coming through the Ferrosol section as well. Apologies if you saw a little bit of riding again. There's a lot of desync going on with drivers leaving and rejoining the session, which is not that great for us in the spectating mode. Venom going for the race lead, by the way, on the back of Stonks. I'm aboard Alex Marciano going through on the back of Daniele. Zozo's going to have a phenomenal run at both of them. Maybe even 3 wide and towards turn number 1. Zozo catching Daniele and Alex Marciano very quickly indeed. Alex goes around the outside of Zozo. Zozo, all of a sudden, his tyres are really going off the cliff. And now, Alex is going off the cliff slightly. Daniele there, under pressure now from Alex. And now Zozo's going to try and make it 3 wide in towards turn number 4. Might get the 2 for 1, like the Tesco meal deal. Round the outside he goes. Bit of contact between on the inside, Daniele and Alex Marciano. Alex involved in that as well. Tootie's now involved in this battle as well. He's up the inside of Simbarox. Absolute all hell breaking loose in Mexico. Venom leads, Stonk second, Dirk third, and now Alex Marciano has enough. Goes to the inside of Paul, says you're not getting there through, my friend. He's through and he's back into P9, and crucially, in the points, as Tootie now is going to be in the points as well, because he's on the back of Paul and gets the move done in towards turn 13.
We now have the championship rivals interlocked with each other on this circuit, and Tootie will have the first attack. He'll have the first opportunity to get ahead of Alex Marciano, because of course Alex doesn't have any DRS and he has less than 10% of his ERS. So Tootie could take first blood here in this battle as Brandox gets past Bobberts, but that could be crucial for their race. If they can slipstream each other here, they can catch up to that top 4 who are holding each other up. So Bobberts and Brandox could get close as Tootie's able to get past Alex Marciano with the DRS. He's ahead now of his championship rival. He'll be outscoring him by 1 point in this race, but that could be a crucial point come the end of the season. But we'll have to wait and see how this race progresses for them. We've got 10 laps to go here in Mexico. Brandox now within 7/10 of Flo, so we will now have a 6-car battle for the lead of this Grand Prix, but Flo's gone wide. Brandox round the outside through turn 8 there. Flo really struggling here. I think he might have overheated his tyres and he's disconnected now. So Flo, super unfortunate for him. I think Bobberts will just be able to keep with Brandox after all that. He got held up slightly as Dirk now picks up another 3-second time penalty. That's him up to 6 seconds. Sorzo with 5, Giovanni with 6, Daniele with 6, and Lurch with 3. And unfortunately, that is going to be Flo's race pretty much over and done with, as his AI is actually coming into the pit lane to change tyres.
Oh. Stonks is going to go for the race lead on the back of Venom and all of this as well. To the inside line, easy as you like for Stonks. Might be easy as you like as well for Dirk. Might attack Venom in towards turn number 1, and he does, and Venom lets it go. Dirk through and he's into second. Venom there in third. Do not want to put Dirk in this situation, though, because he's looking very good. Flo, luckily back in the session, he's got time, actually, between them. So, obviously, with them coming in the pit lane, he's going to be so far down the field, he may as well come back in and retire that car, because there's no chance at the minute of a safety car happening in this stage of the race. Stunk's leading, Dirk second, Venom third, Brandok's there in fourth, and all of a sudden, as it stands, the front four have pulled away. Bobbitt's got held up, Lou got held up and all of that as well. Obviously, Tudi and Alex Marciano were fighting side by side, so all of that is now split once again. And now, Brandox, I think, is probably the one to watch out for, because he's on 2 lap pressure tires compared to Venom, 3 laps compared to Stonks, and 4 laps compared to Dirk. He's on much fresher tyres, got much more EOS than these guys as well right now. There goes Dirk to the, there goes Venom to the inside line of Dirk. They're leaning on each other. Brandox, as I say, one to watch out for. Both in contact, both in strife. Brandox Looney's into second. Commentator's curse technically struck, but I will take that because Brandox, I was saying, was the man to watch out for. He's Looney's into second. At the disposal of Venom, and indeed the man of, and I forgot who it was he was involved with. It was Dirk. Yeah, Dirk down all the way now in P3. Still there in P3. Venom there in 10th. Venom now going to be in 11th because Paul's going to go side by side with him. Dirk, I think, has got damage as well. He's so far wide, coming out of turns 1 and 2. Now Bobbert to side by side with him. Bobbert might have a look here in towards turn number 4. Not going to get the job done. Stonks leads the way. Brandox in second. Dirk there in third. Commentator's curse technically struck there, but positively for Brandox.
Yeah, I feel like that was just a bit too aggressive there for Venom. He's a man that drives on his emotion, which sometimes can benefit him and sometimes might not. So might just maybe got a bit agitated seeing Dirk get past him and wanted to get past as soon as possible. And I feel like he should have just waited. He had the DRS to Stonks in front as Dirk goes really defensive to Venom's teammate of Bobberts. And yeah, I feel like that collision was inevitable with a move down there. It's so difficult to go side by side.
No.
Very, very close between the pair as Bobberts as well. Now actually has brought Lou into this battle as well. So we have a 3-car fight for the podium. And actually Dirk does have some front wing damage. I say that, and he pulls into the pit lane to retire the car. So Tudi and Alex Marciano were 9th and 10th, now up to 5th and 6th, as here comes Lou on Bobberts. No way for Bobberts to fight this, or is there? As he's looking to the outside of the Alfa Romeo to defend his position. A really nice defensive move there from Bobberts, but Lou will get the drive. Out to the corner, he'll have the DRS. Tudi and Alex Marciano have now joined the party, and so has Zorzo as well, as Lou manages to get past Bobberts. But now, this could open up an opportunity here for Alex Marciano, Tudi and Zorzo to maybe get a podium out of this one, as Simbrox picks up a 3-second time penalty, and Bobberts will now just try to stick to the back of the Alfa Romeo in front while defending from Tudi behind.
And in all of that as well, we had a randomer join and leave the session, so I'm not sure who that was, not sure who gave them the invite. Of the lobby, maybe he's on friends only, but he's joined and realised, oh crap, there's a league race going on, I may as well leave. Stonks leads the way, Brandox second, Lou there in third, 1.3 seconds separating the leaders, 3 seconds between Brandox and Lou right now. Bobberts, Tudi, Alex Marciano, then Zozo in 7th. Zozo, as I say, possibly the one to watch out for in this. Do not rule out Hazara in this either. Hazara's only beginning to get going in this race, and you know what we talk about the Norwegians and getting going, they like to leave it late, and they're there in 8th position with Hazara right now. Paul and Venom 9th and 10th, looking quite good. Cameron's dad, by the way, in the chat saying he's watching both streams. Thank you very much, Cameron's dad. Thank you very much, double-barreled avatar in the chat as well, by saying Brandox is the one to watch out for. 3 laps of fresh tyres compared to Stonks. Definitely the case, as Bobberts now looks to the back of Lou. Running out of EOS is the man in the Alfa Romeo. Bobberts with slightly more. Alex Marciano now looking to the outside line on Tudi. Tudi looks to the inside line on Bobberts, and Alex now forces that inside line, forces the move in towards turn number 6 now. The double right-hander, Tudi and Alex Marciano, 2 title rivals now drawn to the hip. Alex slides coming out the corner. That's Tudi's move all day. Tudi's Looney's into 5th. Alex there in 6th. And all of a sudden, advantage Tudi.
Yeah, Tudi, of course, is still leading Alex Marciano, and actually during that, might have even been able to sliver down the inside of Bobbits, but just wasn't close enough to make the move, and this is dropping them from Lou. They need to stop battling here because it's sort of hindering Bobbits as well with how close they're getting to the McLaren, because Alex also tapped Bobbits heading through turn 5, so they need to actually just make sure they're sort of making sure Bobbits isn't hindered in this one so they can keep a hold of this top 3 battle. As now, DRS is open for the McLaren, DRS open for the Haas, and the Williams, 2 Williams cars as well. Hazara is getting closer. Brandox is 1.2 behind now on Stonks. Of course, Stonks hasn't scored any points before today. He scored 8 in the sprint. Can he take the maximum of 33 after today's Grand Prix? Still needs to win this one to get those points, but he's looking in a very good position at the moment. Bobbert still sitting behind Lou. This time around, Tudy not being overtaken by Alex Marciano, so we're still heading through now into turn 6. Daniele picks up a 3-second time penalty, but won't drop him down anywhere, down as he's down in 14th ahead of Simbrox and Lurch, who of course disconnected early on into the race. And Brandox still 1.2 behind, he's getting closer. He's slowly bringing that gap down, but the question is, will he bring it down enough for a move on that final lap, or will Stonks be able to hold on here in Mexico as Lou still just about not able to pull away from Bobbitt's behind us. As yellow flag, that's for Daniele, who's actually gone round, luckily not retiring from the Grand Prix, and we still go through this race without a full course safety car just yet. We've had the VSC, but not the physical safety car in this one, as Brandox 1.0 behind. I think that final sector is really where the Aston Martin shines around the circuit like this.
Definitely so, and those tyres are going to be added into that and coming into play. Definitely Tootie coming into play as well. On the back of Bobbert. Bobbert's there in fourth. Looking now in the pressure from the back of Tootie. Alex there on the back of him as well. Is Alex maybe going to look for another move like he did last time around, or 2 laps ago now? On the inside line, maybe in towards turn 4 and 5. No, he's not going to risk it for a chocolate biscuit or a custard cream or a bourbon or any sort of biscuit that you like. Stonks leading the way. Brandox in second. Stonks was retired this time last week. He came back in Legacy Division qualifiers, set a stonking lap there, and he's now on for stonking performance here in WOR Console Tier 2. Brandox there in second, has got 3 lap pressure tyres though. He is the man to watch out for right now. Not only that, 39%, 41% in fact, the VRS. Stonks is on 16. Brandox is managing this race completely better than Stonks right now in terms of the ERS management. And ERS management is crucial around a track like this, where you've got to have every single bit of advantage. Brandox taking a much thinner line as well, gaining a little bit of time. Lap 34 out of 36, 3 to go now here in Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Stonks leads the way, Brandox in second, but it's going to be the question now of how long Stonks is going to be in the race lead. Not if, not when, how long Stonks is going to be there, because Brandox is right on the back of him through turn 3.
Yes, Brandox really getting close to Stonks. He's really starting to put the Haas under some pressure here. The question is as well, can Lou hold on to the podium here as Chudy's starting to look racy behind Bobbert's heading in to turn number 4 and now into turn 5. It doesn't seem like he's able to get a move done here, but Stonks under a lot of pressure. Will have to hang on for dear life. Of course, Brandox is probably going to wait all the way to the final lap to make a move on the Haas driver in front, and that's going to be crucial for his race. He just needs to keep it within track limits as well. That's going to be another thing these drivers need to look out for. Keep the car within the white lines, and you will be pretty much fine in this lead battle, especially if you're on Brandox's position. He needs to just hit his marks, make sure he doesn't make too many mistakes in this one. Now on to lap 35 or 36. We see what Brandox does. He has, of course, got the battery advantage. So as he now heads down that main straight, we can also see if Chudy can get close enough, or even Alex can make a move on Chudy in this one. But there you see, Brandox not using any DRS, heading down into turn 1 for the penultimate time in this Grand Prix. So he's having to sit behind. Bobberts and Lou also very close together, but they need to look out for the likes of Zorzo, Alex, and Chudy behind them, who have the battery advantage. So we could maybe see a 3-wide moment between those guys as well. So heading down up into turn 4, then into turn 5, we have Brandox and Stonk still very, very close together. 4 tenths is the gap. And Hazara isn't able to close in enough on Zorza. We have Paul and Venom and Giovanna all over the final points of this Grand Prix. Venom should have had a really good race here, but unfortunately has not materialised from him after that collision with Dirk, who unfortunately in the AlphaTauri is out of this Grand Prix. But it's all now going to start to hit boiling point as we head into the stadium section for the penultimate time. Brandox all over the back of Stonks. Stonks is going slow. He wants the DRS here in Mexico, but he's not going to get it. He's going to have to wait all the way to turn 12. Brandox, he needs a good drive out to the final corner. Zorzo gets past his teammates. That's some desync there between the pair. Brandox now using his battery. He's using the DRS, and he's able to get past Stonks before we even hit the braking zone. So that's Stonks down to second place after being in the lead for so long. We have Chudy, Lou and Bobberts. Chudy to the inside of McLaren. Can he get the move done? Bobberts goes wide and Chudy's able to get past the McLaren. Lou couldn't hold on at all there. He had no DRS, no battery to defend with either. As we now head up into turn 4, Zorzo now going for the move.
No way!
As well, a double move maybe from Zorzo. No, can't get close enough. Alex Marciano gets past Lou as well. Lou's gone from 3rd to 7th within the space of 4 corners here as Brandox up in front. Looks like he's going to be pulling away from Stonks. Chudy in 3rd, managed to somehow, after what seemed to be an awful start to this Grand Prix, get up into the podium places, but further up into the stadium section for the final time. It's going to be Brandox who will eventually, after so much hard work in this season, so many near misses, he'll finally do it. He'll finally get a race win here in Crossplay Tier 2. On the final lap, Brandox wins the Mexican Grand Prix with Stonks in 2nd and Chudy rounding out the podium for Haas. Bobberts in 4th, Alex Marciano in 5th, who actually loses some of his lead there in the championship. It was 8 points. Chudy gained 5 points there, and it's back to 3 points. So Alex gains 1 point. As you know, he doesn't actually gain any points because it was, Alex gains 5 points, put him up to 7. And then losing an extra 5 points there puts them back to where they were. So no changes in the championship battle at all. 2 points still separate them heading into Portugal. And wow, what a race that was. And a brilliant drive from Brandox. So finally, it's finally his time to get a race win here for Aston Martin.
And it was absolutely deserved as well. Absolutely deserved. Well commentated by yourself there, Max. Brandox taking that race win. Absolutely brilliant drive from him as well. Chudy gets drive of the day. I honestly think he should. Drive of the day. Phenomenal performance given how he was further down the field. I think he was 15th at one stage after coming out of the pit lane. He was 15th and now he's 3rd. Fantastic effort from Chudy. But Brandox takes that race win. Crucial for him as well. Brilliant drive. And then, honestly, he played that absolutely down to an absolute T. Stonks is an experienced figure when it comes to sim racing. He didn't know what to do coming into the Verazol section. He wanted to have Brandox in front of him. Brandox thought, you know what, no, I don't want anything to do with you. I'm just going to sit and wait in behind. And then down in towards turn 1, absolutely hammered on that overtake mode. Got the move done. Easy as you like in the end for Brandox. Stonks have come so far, I think, in the last week or so. Legacy Division qualifiers, getting them qualified TTM, of course, in terms of the Legacy Division in 2 weeks. But Brandox is the one that takes the win. The former ET8 man out on top from Stonks there in 2nd. Chudy there, 9th on the grid up to 3rd. Bobberts drove a great race as well, finishing 11th, starting 11th, finishing 4th. Alex Marciano there in 5th, so a 5-point gain for Chudy there in the end. Brings them back to how they were, as you mentioned. Lou there in 6th, Hazara there in 7th, Zorza won 8th. He was unlucky. I think if he had fresher tyres, he would have been an absolute godsend for podium potentially, given how his pace was. Paul there in 9th with Venom round off the top 10. Then it's Flo, Luca, Gavano, Simbarox and Daniele top 15. Daniele gets fastest lap point as well. Don't think fastest lap point is given though in WOR. Lurch there in 16th, finishing a lap down under AI, so doesn't pick up any points. No, does Dirk, Andrea, Nico or Leo, of course, all DNFing out of the race. 1 VSC to talk about as well in that race, but in the end, Brandox is the one that comes out on top, and in what was an absolute phenomenal race. in terms of the action out on track, I really hope you enjoyed it. Max is a bit in the dark there, as you can tell by the camera, but hopefully you really enjoyed that. Certainly we did here in the commentary box.
Yeah, that was an amazing race, and Brandox, he of course got his first podium last time out in Singapore. I mean, he's had many near misses up before that of podiums and race wins, and it was just well deserved. A brilliant drive from him, and I mean that can propel some drivers into a championship battle. Of course, maybe not Brandox; he's a bit too far behind, but it's propelled him up into a really good position now in the championship. Was ahead of his teammate coming into this one, and will leave an even bigger gap ahead of his teammate into this one. So, I mean, it also helps Aston Martin as well in the constructors' battle against the likes of Williams and Haas, getting that race victory as well. So, I mean, it was an amazing race. We're back to where we were before we even started the Grand Prix, with the championship the top two in the championship, both gaining the same amount of points on each other. So, again, it's going to be an interesting race next week out in Portugal. Of course, no sprint race in that one, so there's no chance we leave the way we started unless both Tudy and Alex don't score points. So this is now really where it hits crunch time in the season for that top two, and they need to be on their A game for the final 3 rounds of this season.
They do need to be on that A game indeed. Brandox as well, coming into tonight, was all the way down, I think, in what, 7th position? As I said, one good result in that mid pack could really do them the charm. And Brandox taking that race win closes the gap quite literally. And I think because of Nico and Zozo finishing further down the field, I think Brandox is now 4th in the championship, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So, fantastic effort from him. 3rd place last week, of course, in Singapore, taking that race win here tonight. 4-man definitely going into the rest of the season. As Max alluded to there, of course, it's Portugal next week, which is going to be very interesting. Evan Dalton should be back from his Eurosong rehearsals in time for that one. Then it's Belgium, Austria, and China, the final 3 rounds of the championship in Tier 2. You can also catch as well Legacy Division on Tuesdays. You've got to wait a week, but I'm going to get a bit of self-promotion in there because I'm on commentary for that. Monaco, round 1 of the championship is the 23rd of Jan. Then it's Qatar for the first sprint race. Bahrain custom weather, that could be interesting. Could be full wets around there. Then it's Hungary, and then somebody decided to put Azerbaijan as round 5 of the championship as well. We've got custom weather, we've got 2 sprint qualifying, and 2 sprint 35% races. We've got a track revealed on the stream. We've got everything when it comes to Legacy Division, the likes of TTM, the likes of BRT, the likes of Shazoo, the likes of F7R, OP. I could go on and on. I'm not going to, though, because we're approaching the end of the stream. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really, really hope that you enjoyed that one. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. We're going to take you over to Tier 2 as well very shortly, at Tier 1 even, very shortly indeed, in around about a couple of minutes or so. But for myself and Max, take care of yourselves. We will see you, of course. Well, I won't see you next week. Max certainly will. Max, any final thoughts on what was a fantastic race?
Yeah, I mean, it was an amazing one. The championship battle still lives on heading in to Portugal, and yeah, thank you for joining me, James. Of course, was a little bit last minute today, but yeah, thank you for joining me, and I mean, thank you everyone for watching as well.
Yeah, you are very welcome for having me join you in the commentary box. I think it's the 2nd time this season we've been in there. Leonardo mentioning in the chat as well, no more crossplay until he gets a PS5. He was on PS4, which is why he was having all of those issues, which I understand. Commentators Cup, PSGL, I understand what a PS4 and crossplay does to you. Put it that way. And Leo, I'm sure, will be bouncing back in hopefully the coming weeks, if not, hopefully next season, whenever that may be. But we're going to end off the stream here. Big thank you, of course, to our sponsors, Next Level Racing, GridFinder. You'll hear from them in a second or two. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.